Hello, everyone. This is Christina Barr, and you're watching Black Tea News. Hello, everyone. This is Christina Barr. You're watching Black Tea News, but we on Saturdays we do our special Let's TikTalk About It, and I have a special guest who's near and dear to my heart, my cousin Gabriel.
Hello.
So, for those of you who do not know, he is also a fellow TikToker. I'm slowly creeping up to you, sir. But he does very well on there. But he's a Christian rapper who is quite good. Drop some bars. Go. You don't have to. It's okay. I was just teasing. No, but his stuff is really good. Will you please tell people where they can check you out, Gabe?
Yes, you can find me on all social media at gabrielbthatguy. That's Gabriel, the letter B, and that guy. You can follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, Twitter. And also all my music is available on all media outlets, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your music from. I'm on YouTube as well. You can just search Gabriel or Gabriel Thanks or Gabriel Rich Young Ruler. That's the name of one of my albums. And you can go ahead and follow me.
Oh, smart. You wore one of your shirts, came off work. You got your shirts promoting it. You also sells merchandise too, just FYI.
I do. So, you can get the merch at holydripapparel.com.
Holy Drip. I see a lot of people wearing those black shirts and those red crosses, sir. It does look cool. It is pretty cool. I'll give you that. Yeah. So before we jump into it, if you guys want to check out my content, go to blacktnews.com. You guys can share articles. If you want to donate, go to blacktnews.com/donate. And then you guys can please check out different merchandise we got on the store. That's one of my favorites. I am not the victim you're looking for. Also got stuff with like black tea on it. Got Be Better Not Bitter shirt like that. But this one is near and dear to my heart right now. You Are Not That Special. And I also have those on like cute little mugs. So I check out stuff at the store. I don't want to delay it too much. Let's get into our first Tickety Talk. As I'm not sure if my mom calls it that, but I just imagine my mom will call it that. And I like to be an older person on the app because, man, there's a lot of dumb people on the app who are young. And I hate to like be ageist like that because I feel like I was a smart young person, but I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed, sir.
I understand. It is a lot of nonsense, and people who really have too much time on their hands and think they're smarter than what they really are.
Well, you do a lot of TikToks. I mean, because my content is mostly political, but I do some religious things here and there. But I don't know. I could do an inspirational thing and it won't get clicks. And then I'd tell somebody off and they're like, yes, queen. I'm like, y'all could share my positive stuff too. But you focus solely on like religious stuff and you do some reactions, but you do Bible study. So do you get trolls that are just like, you believe in a spaghetti monster in the sky often?
Yeah, you get those. You'll get those. I get those on, there's actually this guy who continually comments on my videos. And at first I was thinking like, okay, maybe I should just, block this guy. But part of me thinks that he's really curious because he everything and asks a lot of questions. And sometimes he tries to disprove things, but me or some others will come and, give him legitimate insight on the Christian faith. And I think he's coming around. So I welcome the trolls. Please come.
Well, I guess like sometimes I gotta find a balance because sometimes I want to go in so hot, and then and I don't know if anyone out. I feel like most people don't legitimately want to come at me and learn something, and they say trollish things. But you never know. Someone might actually want to learn. It might be, but how they ask, I'm like, you cannot mean this sincerely. Like I did a video today. Someone I've been arguing with pro-choice people for weeks because I did a video that got a million views about the Texas heartbeat bill, and some girl, I don't know how many she had, but she had 4 million last I looked. I had commented on hers, and she was pro-choice, and her arguments were terrible.
Mm.
Uh, but all the terrible people watching it didn't like my comment, which I said, you did a 3-minute video and don't even know what it means to be pro-life. And so those people have been following me, and
Oh.
and just saying, commenting nonstop. So I've got people who are young, a lot of them mostly young, and a lot of people who aren't even American. Not that that's not an issue around the world, but uh it's just, we just have a different set of value systems across the world. So I've, but anyway, someone's that people keep saying pro-life people don't care about people. I'm like, that is a talking point. It's not true. They're very
Mm-hmm.
charitable. They just
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in like the government doing things. If you real compassion is you going out and doing it yourself. And
Right.
so I said, so they're like, what are you doing? What have you done for the poor people and the women and blah blah blah. So I'm just like, hi, I went to the Philippines in the 10th grade and we actually gave stuff to orphanages and we've sponsored this and we did this and we did this and we did this. And then at the end they were like, you and they started asking all these other questions as well. And that were still kind of hostile a little bit. And then I was like, I did a video. I'm not like, I don't
Right.
owe you more of my time. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, still thank you for your, even if you don't say anything, because I do enjoy listening. I'm just like, then why don't you come at people less hostile?
Yeah. Trolls.
Be a,
It's how you get your clicks. It's how you get the clicks and to get your attention. But yeah, you got to find that balance because sometimes there are people who legitimately just want to come on the page just to annoy you or just try to disprove anything, and then there's some people who come, they'll start out hostile, but as you start to present the facts and present things to them, they say, okay, well, I'm open, which is rare that you find people who
mm-hmm,
act open. Most of the people
mm-hmm,
who are commenting, they're just watching and liking from a distance,
mm-hmm.
but you're not those people. So I've had to learn to just kind of find a balance.
Mm. Well, I'm trying to still balance that, but let's get into the TikToks. This first one's gonna go quick. It's pretty funny. We'll see. So eyes wide open.
We
You need to leave.
I love the knife twirl.
That's man. I say it all the time. The people on the app have no remorse. They just don't care. Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know if that was like a woman or a dude or because I can't really see
Right.
the face. I would guess it was like a trans dude. I don't know, but that was hilarious. That was hilarious. You
Yeah,
gotta have
that
your
was
you gotta be ready to have your feelings hurt on this app, man.
you do because they will come at you. They will come at you quick. But man, that I'm looking. I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going. She came with the knife.
The deep twirled it. Oh my gosh, and she did that pretty smooth, like she done it before. I don't know how many takes that took. I'm sorry, you went out when you what did you just say?
A couple times.
Mm. I'm gonna go ahead to the next one. This one is another funny one.
I told you I want my money. Hi, I'm a pimp. I don't have the energy to disrespect my women if I'm disrespecting my body. Please, get the vaccine.
You know what? That's about the logic that they have for this at this point. At this
But
point,
I've seen some ads that were like super urban though that kind of suggested that like there was one video, it was like a real ad and it kind of seemed like they were a drug, it was a drug dealer a little bit. And I was like, and it was like some months ago. I think I posted on my social media and I'm just like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Like
it's getting crazy just how they're advertising this get the vaccine stuff. I listen to sometimes I listen to sports talk radio, and every commercial, everybody's talking about get the vaccine, no matter what. I always laugh at that video that is going around, especially on TikTok about Biden saying if you want to prepare for hurricanes, get the vaccine. And I'm like, how does that correlate?
Well, there's some COVID in the water, I guess, and the sharks.
Sharks out of fish. It's in the rain. It's everywhere. It's ridiculous.
They're just really desperate for it, and I think it's really weird how much they're pressing it for, like having elderly pushing it for them to get is one thing, but how much I see them pushing it with giving the Rodrigo girl who did the good for you, having her go to the White House and stuff like that. I'm like, do people realize that like young men like in your age group, there's a danger from getting myocarditis from the vaccine. Wow. So which is like an enlargement of the heart. I think that's like the most kind of simplest way to say it. And there was a 13-year-old from Saginaw who took the vaccine and died after his second dosage. He died in his sleep from that. So not that people shouldn't get it if they feel that's what they should get it, but what are the odds, like if you look at the numbers, that like you are going to catch it and you're going to die? Like low. Like,
very low. A lot of people that I've came in contact with, they're not, especially young men like me, they're not even thinking about it, or they're just like, I don't know what's in it and I don't really care to get the vaccine. So they say either I had it and it wasn't that bad, or if I get it, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's getting weird. Like the whole Nicki Minaj push, which I do have like a video related to that. But I'm gonna play this video which talks about some of the money that people have been getting with COVID.
I'm very interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So I know I don't talk a whole lot about my personal life and my family on here, but fun fact, I have 3 brothers. I'm the second oldest of 4 boys, and our youngest brother is still in college. And this summer he did what not a lot of people have done, and that's get a job. Not only just get a job, but I swear he probably worked at least 60 hours a week this summer, saving up money, pinching his pennies to try and afford tuition for this fall in his last year at school. Moral of the story, he's incredibly hardworking. He does not accept handouts. He values work ethic just like our parents raised us to, and basically sacrificed his entire summer working crazy hours just to be able to save up money and afford his last year of school to get his bachelor's degree. Anyway, so he saved up all this money, and this past week he went into the office admissions at the university that we all attended to pay off his bill. I don't remember the exact amount that he owed, but after factoring in his scholarships and his financial aid, out of pocket he owed about $1,000 for the semester. But when he went to write a check to pay off his bill, the lady said, yeah, so I don't know if we're supposed to be telling this to every single person, but we actually received tons and tons of money from the CARES Act to help pay for student financial hardships, and we have so much laying around still to this day, a year later, that we're basically telling any student who has anything out of pocket to apply for it and just see what happens. So my brother said, yeah, I mean, if it's literally just sitting there not going towards anything good, it might as well go to somebody. So he sat down and filled out some paperwork and basically said, you know, if I received any money from the CARES Act, it would go towards my tuition, it would go towards paying for my rent, it would go towards paying for my books, it would go towards paying for Wi-Fi to do my homework from home. And at the end of the paperwork, it basically said, if you could ask for any amount that you need, what would it be? Being that my brother only owed about $1,000 out of pocket for his tuition, he basically said, hey, you know what, if you can give me $1,000, just to cover my tuition out of pocket, I'll cover the rest of my expenses. That would be great. Not only was his application accepted pretty much immediately, but this dude received a check for $2,000. And I'm willing to bet they're still handing money out to students. Are there students out there who probably at some point faced financial hardships? Maybe they still do. Yes, of course. But the fact that over a year later, they're still handing out money to basically any student who has any out-of-pocket expense, that just seems a little crazy to me.
Wow. Had no idea about that.
Yeah, there's people getting all kinds of money from that. I'm sure I heard like different cities had a bunch of money that they got from the CARES Act. The American Rescue Plan, the Republicans didn't want to vote yes on it because they knew, they're like, there's so little is going to actual COVID stuff.
Right.
I read through some people are concerned about schools taking government money from like the American Rescue Plan because some people think that if they take it, then you have to push like the masking and other stuff like that. And I'm still trying to figure out if that's 100% true or not. But I was reading through the approved money that Michigan was getting, and they're like talking about, well, before the pandemic, we didn't have this money here, but now we're going to do like this money toward mental health with students and this thing and this project and this project. And I'm like, so is this about like cleaning the schools? Because it doesn't look like it's about air filtering the air and other stuff like that. It like and I saw that teachers unions and stuff, they were really kind of holding kids hostage until they got more money. So there's just a lot of money out there.
So much money out there, whether it's through unemployment or the CARES Act. The government is just handing out money. And I know a lot of people who were still on unemployment through this entire thing, and they recently just got off and panicking, and like now, they don't know how they're going to pay their bills. I'm like, there's a place hiring down the street paying $16 an hour. You can pretty much get a job anywhere at this current time.
Yeah.
But people love free money.
Yeah, and I was wondering, I'm like, how long is this going to last? Because we got to go in the holiday season. If people don't buy up, that's always pretty bad when people, because some people wait the whole year to try to make their holiday work, which was one reason when it first started, and you saw like flower shops weren't essential, so they couldn't be open. And I'm like, that Mother's Day, Valentine's, they can't sell stuff. They can't be open. Well, maybe Valentine's Day where they were, but like Mother's Day, like shut down.
Yeah. Man, this is ridiculous. I'm so glad that part is over, and I'm praying that it never comes back, because I just felt, obviously it was hard for everybody, but I really felt bad for the businesses. And even now, a lot of them still haven't recovered from that. And, now production may be up, people may be wanting a lot of things, but nobody's going to work. Everybody get fed off of unemployment and all this other free money that's around. And, for the guy, like in the video, for the student, clearly he had a wonderful work ethic. And you know what? All his purposes, he deserves that $2,000. He worked his butt off and was willing to work and wasn't looking for handouts. But, sometimes you get blessed.
Yeah, sometimes you get blessed. And I just feel bad for people who lost everything. And we're just mismanaging money. And it's money that we're just in debt. It's debt for me, debt for you, debt for our kids and their grandkids and so on. We're probably never going to get to a place where our national debt doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know. We got to hire people or elect people who want to make better decisions. So I don't know if you saw AOC in her tax the rich dress, but here's a TikTok mocking that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to tax Juanita, have you picked up my dry cleaning yet? We need to tax the rich. Pedro, get your hands off my Porsche. Sorry about that. The pool boy thinks he can just touch anything he wants in this house. Oh, no, I'm not rich. I'm in the working class. No, I'm talking about like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, who don't pay a dime in taxes. Sorry, I'm getting a call from my tax lawyer. I'll be right
back. You know what? I always thought, I looked at that first time I saw it, I'm like, okay, first of all, that dress is hideous. Second of all, the fact that you're putting tax the rich at a party with all rich people.
Yeah. Well, they think they're revolutionaries. It's like just cute activism without really doing anything, because those people will find loopholes. And like Bernie Sanders just say, tax millionaires and billionaires. Well, then he became a millionaire and got 3 houses, and he's like, the billionaires. I'm like, I just remember what you were saying like 5 seconds ago. And another thing, that's like a charity, so people will go there and they'll write it off on their taxes and stuff. So and they get to go and hobnob with celebrities who go there. So it's really like you're saying tax the rich at a place where a lot of people are kind of doing like a tax shelter kind of thing. Yeah. So she should have just boycott it and did her own kind of ball, really.
That would have made more sense. That would have done something. But it's all for show, and she says these things so that she can make more money and stay rich. And she's profiting off of all these people who think that she's this activist, when in actuality she's making way more money than you are, and she's saying to tax the people who are rich. Now, I've always been under the impression like I plan to be rich at some point.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're all working for, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get there and then I'm getting taxed 70%. Nobody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that tax the rich are the ones who don't plan on getting there. Or
they're just the people who are haters. They're just people who are haters and they want your money, and maybe they don't see that way out for them right now. So they want their Medicare for all because they don't want to pay the bill. They say they want free healthcare, but it's not because they think doctors and nurses should work for free. They just don't want to pay their bill. So they think someone else should pay it. So that's really what a lot of it comes down to, is just greed and people not really wanting to take any sort of responsibility. So, and she's saying that people are pushing back on her because people always criticize women of color, especially like blue collar women of color.
Oh my gosh.
And she had a job working as a barista, and congratulations, she got to Congress in a district where a cup of water could have won against a Republican. And I didn't say that. I think Nancy Pelosi said that. And now she makes six figures and drives a Tesla, I think.
Oh, the joys of America. Congratulations. You did it. Everything that we talk about in America, you conquered it. Congratulations.
And she sells Tax the Rich hoodies for like $60, I think, on
my hoodies are only $25. That's ridiculous. $60. Jeez.
Yeah. That's what she does. Well, here's a theological debate that happened. You know, so someone stitched it, so we're gonna watch the stitch for this.
Nobody. Somebody, oh somebody. Somebody.
So she was saying no, but like who said, and she said other things before that, and some of the things that she said were silly. But that one that he stitched was, she said, no, what he said, that you can be once saved, always saved. And so he's saying somebody. So all those scriptures, and I knew they went by pretty fast, were all like, I mean, one was John 3:16. John 3:16 does not say that you can do whatever you want and still get to heaven. It just talks about the general, you know, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. But so I think, and this guy, I've seen him a few times, but I don't know if he's like a Calvinist or not. The other girl was a Catholic. I gotta agree with the Catholic, because I don't like the once saved always saved doctrine.
No, I don't like it either, because it just it basically gives people the freedom. Oh, you can do whatever you want and you'll still make it to heaven, when we know that's not the case. You know, there's, you know, yes, this is the explanation that I always give, is it's like a rope. You know, you receive Christ and boom, this rope is available to you. This rope cannot be broken. It can't be cut. You can't destroy this rope. This rope will always be. But you can grab onto this rope, and as long as you hold onto this rope, it is going to take you to heaven. But seeing as how we are on earth and God has given us free will, you can let go of this rope.
Yeah.
And this rope is still going to heaven with or without you. You can let go of it. And it's always there for you. You can always go back to it. But you can let go of it. And that's the same thing with, you know, with salvation. It's not that God is, you know, yes, God is loving, God is forgiving, and you can always come back. But, you know, that doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want to do and live however you want to live and have salvation. That's not the way it works.
Well, people will say, well, it's a gift. God doesn't take back the gift. And I'm like, you can choose not to receive it. You can choose not to use a gift, you know? So, I mean, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and you were younger at the time than I was, but I'm sure you've been around a lot of people who believe that group, like maybe a Baptist church or something, and they believe because they were baptized when they were a kid and they said the sinner's prayer that they can live any kind of way, literally any kind of way, and they're like, I'm gonna get into heaven one day, and it's like fully out in the world, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is such a destructive sort of ideology. Now, when I hear like Calvinists talk about it, they're not, living any, trying to use that kind of scapegoat, but I've heard people say, well, if you're not living right, or if you backslide, then you were never saved to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is a way more problematic thing to me, because I'm like, imagine the most saved person you know. Imagine the most saved person. Imagine some kind of tragedy befalls them or something, and they just decide to backslide. They just decide to backslide. If the most saved person you know was never saved to begin with, how do you know that you're saved? How do you know that you are saved? How can you have confidence in that? And the reason why you should have confidence is because you you repented of your sin, you accepted Jesus Christ into your heart, and you're determined that you're going to live right. And even though you might stumble sometimes, that you're not going to fall, and if you do fall, you'll get back up. So you should have full confidence because of what you choose.
Right. That's true, and that is such destructive thinking to have. Is that you mess up one time and it's over. You're never going to make it. If that's the case, then what's the point of forgiveness? What's the point of mercy? You can. I wouldn't be able to. I would be so afraid to accept Christ if that were true. That if I mess up one time, it's over. That if I backslide, it's over. How could what kind of God would he be if he let you go and just threw you to the wolves when you failed, when you messed up?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of you messed up that it's over for you, but if it's like, if you ended up messing up, then clearly you weren't right to begin with. So, but I'm just like, how can you dare to believe that or say that about people? What
Right.
To have that? You don't have omniscience to just judge how they were the whole entire time. And you might say, oh, well, a tree by its fruits, it's obvious. Like, no, but there are people who are fully 100% in the gospel, living the gospel, and then things happen and then they decide to turn away. They get discouraged. They have a tragedy, or I don't know, just people get to them and they'll just fall out of church. They'll start, fornicating, one thing after another. They're just gone. They're just gone. And there are a few scriptures, I'm trying to like pull them up really quick, that really affirm that you can lose. And there were some people in the comments who are like, what about this scripture? What about this scripture? What about this scripture? And Hebrews 10:26, James 5:19, and 2 Peter 2:20. And in the Peter scripture, that was basically like, if you leave, it's like as if it would be better if you weren't even saved in the first place, essentially. And in the James 5:19, I think it's 19 and 20, it talks about how if someone has fallen away, pray that you can bring them back. So it's like, obviously, if you can leave and someone can bring you back.
Yeah.
So he listed a whole mess of scriptures and none of them really proved his point, but there are ones to debunk it for sure. So I don't like that philosophy, and if I think people really think about it, I'm like, but I guess if you don't believe people really have free will, but
yeah, it's there's a lot of people like, and that's the thing I've realized on TikTok. Like, I never realized how many slight variations of beliefs that there are. Like, how ways, and you give your heart to God, you do it wholeheartedly. We understood the basics, and as we grew in our faith, we learned more and more and more of what to do, what not to do. But you get some people, like there's this one guy, I'm pretty sure he's a progressive Christian, and he talks about how God, or how Jesus was telling people to come out, and I'm like, how are you getting that? But people take what they want from the scripture and add it to their lives, and just to try to prove their lifestyle. That's not what the gospel is for. It's not to validate your lifestyle. It's to validate Christ. Some people don't see that.
Yeah. Tina listed a fun little fact from our last conversation. The U.S. was only a debt free in 1835. That's interesting. If you find any more fun facts, please write them. I think that'll be interesting. Thank you, Sister Tina. Thank you, Sister Tina. That is a fun fact. That's something I did not know. But
That's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy, and it's obviously only getting worse with time. And I don't know if we can fix it. Let's go on. This one's a fun topic. I've been talking about this all week.
This has got to be a joke. The Nicki Minaj vaccine row shows why we shouldn't expect celebrities to be spokespeople for social issues. You've got to be kidding me, right? George Clooney, T Swift, Jennifer Lawrence, Billie Eilish. You guys were okay with all these celebrities promoting this potato, but now because she speaks against your narrative, celebrities shouldn't talk about social issues. Just make it make sense.
Exactly.
All those people, all those celebrities that you use every year, and now you say that celebrities should. These people, I don't even think Nicki Minaj is like fully conservative, but this is just one part that she says I don't agree with, and now you just completely throw her away.
It's not even a conservative thing, because if you look at ethnicities and people who are most hesitant to take the vaccine, it's Black people. It's Black people. Not other people aren't hesitant, but like the race. If you break it up racially, it's the race that's most hesitant is Black people, and those are not Republicans. They're maybe soon to be Republicans. Maybe they'll return home, but they're not Republicans. So, Nicki Minaj just saying like an experience, and I don't, the whole ball story seems fishy to me. It does, but there are worse side effects that I mentioned earlier about the myocarditis and people actually dying from it. The CDC, Biden and them, they wanted to push booster shots, and they approved it for like I think it was the FDA. I don't know if the CDC or the FDA that they met, and they said, okay, we're gonna approve it for elderly people, but not, and I don't know if they're still gonna like push it, but for younger people they don't want to because they're concerned about the myocarditis. So they don't want they don't want you to take it again. So those are, if she actually goes on the call with the White House to talk to Dr. Fauci and stuff, I hope she actually has a list of real things to like talk about. But she asked her fans, like, tell me what questions you want me to ask. And I don't know if that's what like briefly suspended her from Twitter or not, because now Twitter is claiming that she wasn't suspended, and I don't know how you would mess that up. So I don't believe them. And I don't believe the White House, because the White House is like, oh, we only offered a call. And I'm like, Nikki has a pretty specific story. And they do that. They invite people to the White House. She's been invited to the White House when Obama was president.
The slightest difference in thought, and they completely throw you away. It's the left is just they're very frustrating, and they're just so hypocritical. And like a lot of the people that I've came across that, when we talk about the vaccine and majority Black people, they don't trust the government. And they say government is pushing.
They shouldn't.
The government, I don't want to be a part of it. And they know they obviously care about COVID, and they know it's real. And when they wear their mask, and a lot of Black people are really about mask and social distance, and still taking temperatures at churches, which that's another story. But when it comes to the vaccine, they don't want no parts of it, and I understand. It's very understandable.
Yeah, I like you said, Billie Eilish, or this is Eilish. The girl, the Good For You girl, went to the White House. They had Billy Piper. What was his name? Billy, the dude who's in the Cinderella thing that they had. Porter, Billy Porter. He did a terrible, weird song at the DNC. The DNC had a lot of celebrities like hosting it, and it was like terrible. Like their conventions, it was awful. And they just had so many people on the side. They got The Rock to endorse Biden. And he said
Every
He
election.
he cried a few man tears. He said, I wonder what he has to say about the 13 troops dying and all the other stuff, but which I'm probably sure he won't say. But yeah, they should probably just stay out of stuff. But Nikki's not really. I don't even consider. They said they should stay out of social issues. This isn't even like a social issue. It's like what people are trying to force her as an individual to do with her body.
Right. Right.
So it's not a social thing. It's like you are coming into her territory, and ultimately she, in her original tweet, she said she'll probably get it because she wants to tour. So she didn't encourage anyone not to take it. She just was like,
Right.
"Hey, this thing happened. My cousin's friend happened. So we're a little hesitant about that."
Yeah, I get it, and I know there's a lot of people, who, whether they have to for their jobs or if they travel a lot, and just to avoid the hassle, they get the vaccine. In her case, you're touring, you travel all the time. It probably makes sense, and you're probably gonna have to do it. But I understand her reservations for it. As you said, she had a personal story that happened, a personal issue that happened with the vaccine, so that's why she's hesitant. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like that who've had personal encounters, negative encounters with the vaccine, and so they're hesitant about it. But they're so, like, if you even think about not getting it, they're just pounding you, and it's ridiculous. They're really forcing full force with this vaccine thing, and I've never seen anything like it.
And Biden, he let Cardi B interview him when other people wouldn't interview him. He wouldn't, he wasn't out and about. He's basically campaigning from his basement. Cardi B didn't interview with him. Candace Owens lit her on fire, saying like, they just had you because they're not threatened by you, right? Like, which Candace was totally right, and which is also funny because Cardi, Nikki seems like she can handle herself a lot better than like Cardi B, because by the end of it, Cardi B was like crying on Instagram about Candace Owens, and I don't see Nicki Minaj doing anything like that.
Yeah, no. I remember when that happened. I'm like, what is this? What is this? What has become of the Democrats? What has become of this election? This is a show now. This isn't
It
even
was a show.
A show. This is drama. This is
he also had some guy from I think it was a Netflix show called Cheer, and he ended up getting caught up in a sex scandal because he was going with some boys or something, underage boys, having them send them stuff and other stuff. So he had another celebrity interview him and turned out to be like a child molester.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it's all for show. That's all it is. It's all for show.
It is interesting though. The tea has been good. The tea has been so good. I've been all week. I've been excited to talk about it. There's been new developments every day, and I think all this happened like Monday night. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there was always something new to break. So I've had a lot of fun this week, especially since last week was like a super remote. Like the past few weeks, I was talking about Afghanistan and all this other kind of stuff. So like talking about Nicki Minaj for like a week. It's been fun. It's scary stuff what the government is doing.
Yeah.
But she's made it amusing at least.
Thank you, Nikki.
Speaking of fun, this guy has done like a series. I don't know if you've seen this guy, but I love his videos about if he's black in certain settings. So,
yeah.
So I don't. This is like the Pokemon one.
All right, it's time.
Tyronemon, I choose you.
Bro, I'm a trainer, not a Pokemon. Anyways, I choose
Hitmonquan. Use SoundCloud and throw off his hearing with mumble rap.
What? Okay, you're pretty strong. I'm the gym leader here. How about
that
these
can't be
rules?
right. There's no Pokemon in Compton. Must be an urban gym.
Bro, I'm a Pokemon master. I pick the rules.
Good
here.
thing I don't have any cotton type Pokemon. It'd be a field day for you.
What?
Use a water type Pokemon. They can't swim.
Hey man,
Freeze, dirtbag. Back in
bro,
your ball.
I'm not no damn Pokemon.
Jail cells, Pokeballs, all the same thing to you people, right?
What the?
Leaving just like your father.
Leaving just like your father. The cotton. Good thing we don't have cotton Pokemon, or else you'd have a field day. That one was really funny. Oh my gosh! It's
so great to like, since things have become so censored now, and everybody's all up in arms with feeling and rage. I gotta say, some of this stuff just be hilarious, especially
Mhm.
on this, because nobody cares and they're not in it to, be censored. And I've seen some just, if anybody saw it, they would just say it's racist. But you know what? It is darn
I
funny.
like racial jokes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think some of them are really funny. And
They
his series is really funny. And I've seen some other, I'm surprised at some things that don't get banned on TikTok. He has so many funny ones, like going to Hogwarts, Star Wars. Like his are so great. His are so great. I think it's funny. I also thought it was funny when a couple years ago we had white people Thanksgiving trending on Twitter. Do you remember that? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I saw someone did a video complaining about iCarly, the new the version now that they have with their older.
Mm-hmm.
They made a joke about like white people or something, and someone was like, if this was reversed, people would be so upset. And so I commented, I did like stitch the video. I was like, you're not wrong, but I don't think we should do this thing where we try to kill comedy. Like
Right.
and be offended. I like the joke wasn't great anyway. It was like, I guess it was Nickelodeon humor. Is it even on Nickelodeon? Maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, that wasn't my thing. I was like after my time, I guess. After my time to really been into that kind of show. But I'm like, I'm not gonna do the thing where I just really try to police jokes. Now, do I like super vulgar jokes? Like, no, and I never like that stuff. But it's crazy to me. Like, did you see that? Comedy Central like banned Diversity Day with The Office.
What? That's a great episode.
Written by Mindy, who is an Indian woman.
Right.
So you have minority writers who write this episode, which I understand it's offensive, but that's why it's funny. And like Comedy Central, they used to have such bad things on Comedy Central. I'm like, I'm not watching Comedy Central. And so just because of how just kind of degrading some of the stuff was on the network. And now this network won't play a very popular episode of The Office when everyone's been like, I've never sat down and really watched The Office myself, but Katrina watches it all the time. And Tina watched, and Sabrina, like so many people have watched it that I've seen a lot of episodes. I've seen Diversity Day. But I'm like in the minority. So many people have watched The Office again and again on Netflix and so on. So when it was playing and on Netflix and when they took it off Netflix, my sister's like, I gotta get the DVDs. So she got the DVDs for Christmas. So many people have already seen it. So for Comedy Central to be like, now we can't air Diversity Day, it's like, what's the world coming to?
I really don't like the policing and censoring of comedy because it's supposed to be free. And a lot of comedians do a lot of offensive things. And it's really to me it's hilarious. Like anytime stereotype jokes about black people, about white people, about Asians, I'm sorry, it's funny, and it's always been funny. You think about the great comedians of the world, they've always told race jokes, and it's always been funny.
Yeah,
black comedians always talk about white people and do the white people voice, and people eat it up. It's hilarious. So policing of all that is just, you're just taking the fun out of everything. They just suck the fun out of everything. You can't have anything these days.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna police speech the comedy like that. Like if it's too vulgar or something like that, or I don't obviously don't like jokes that are blasphemy, straight up blasphemy, that kind of stuff. I take offense to, but
even some of the stereotype of church folk is hilarious.
Oh yeah, for sure. Love,
like I said, as long as it's not blasphemous or anything like that, but just the stereotype about people who go to church, hilarious.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna stop laughing at this stuff. I'm sorry if it offends somebody. I'm not gonna stop. I love that skit with the Pokemon and I love them, and I should just I see him pop on my For You, but I don't think I'm following. I should just follow him because his stuff is really funny.
It is. He's hilarious.
Okay. Do you know Jamal Williams from the Lions? Are you? I don't know how.
I know the player.
Okay, so he left the Packers, right? So he came over, and so I'm really not into sports. I read he's a good pick for the Lions. He's doing a good job for the Lions, but he's such a joy. Like in the interviews, I don't know if you've seen the interview when they were asking if he watched the draft, and he's like, "Oh, I don't watch live TV. I watch number anime all day anime." And so I'm like, oh, who is this guy? And so they asked him like, what should they really be teaching in schools? So this is like a short one. It's pretty funny.
What should they teach in school but don't?
Real life, bills, loan debt, shoot, how to change oil, shoot, a tire, shoot. They should make, field trips at somebody's house and just do chores all day.
Honestly.
He ain't wrong. He is not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He is not wrong. I think you had to take a specific class. The high school I went to, you had to take like a specific like budgeting class to learn about how to do this. But they don't teach you how to do taxes or any of the real life stuff. And so he is certainly not wrong. And yeah, I've seen him. He did an interview about they asked him about how he felt about being traded or something like that. And he's just like, he just compared it to like, a girl dumping him and, the team picked me up and they fed me. And I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah, I really like him too. I'm gonna, I don't know, follow him. I guess I'm not gonna watch Lions, but because I'm not into sports like that. But he seems like a really down to earth guy. He's funny. He's really funny, and they should teach more life skills. I mean, I guess some places have like life skill classes and stuff, but obviously they'd be like elective. But yeah, people like oil, tires, how to manage debt. There's a lot of people who don't know how to do any of those kinds of things. I saw a TikTok and I don't have it on here, but there was somebody talking about your parents when they were 25. And it was like, honey, we need to invest in this. We need to buy a house. It's a good investment. And then they're like me at 25. And he's just like, if I go to sleep, I won't have to buy dinner. So it's like, there's this huge gap. And I see so many people complain about how their parents had it easy, about how they could just, one parent could work and they could afford a house. And I don't actually know. There's a lot of money things we spend our money on, but a lot of things are cheaper. Like, I mean, compared to like what people's salaries are, like it's probably like easier to buy certain appliances and other stuff like that. So millennials and stuff, I don't know how much easier your parents had versus they're just better at with money, just to be honest. I'm sure that's a lot to do with it all.
I think the thing I noticed about the older generation versus, us and, even the younger ones is like they started life way
earlier.
Sooner than we start life. They were, some of them 19, 20, 21, I think your dad got married at 21, I believe, 22, 23, something like that, really early. And my mom got married at 20. Yeah. And my mom got married at 21 and they start life early. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, time they're our age, they probably already bumped their heads and had to learn about budgeting and all that stuff because they started early. Whereas us, they really push the narrative of, going to college and after college, figuring life out. And, a lot of us, we stay home longer than they did. So, yeah, they kind of do figure things out. And I think that a lot of the youth are pretty coddled today.
Yeah.
And, there's so many ways, which is not a bad thing, but there's a lot of ways to make money without going.
It's bad right now. But I saw a video where someone was asking like, what amendment would you make to the Constitution if you could? And so some people were in the comment, and this was like a leftist who asked the question. So I stitched it, and I said we should make it clear that life starts at conception. But I guess technically we shouldn't have to even do that. But obviously I guess we do. But anyway, some people in the comments were just like, we need to up the voting age to like 25 or something. Like, dealing with some of the people I've dealt with, I'm like, we need to raise it 30, and that would price you out, I think. But like, I'm like, it would be better for the nation. Just take one for the team, Gabe.
I was fine because when I was 18, I didn't have to. A lot of the people that are 18, they're not thinking about politics. They're not going to do their research. They don't care. You don't really start caring until it affects you.
Yeah,
and it doesn't affect you until you start living on your own.
Yeah.
So,
but I think we should. I don't know. I don't really think we should make that argument. But like, people who you were younger when we were like 18 is a good age to do those things. Think about how more capable an 18-year-old was 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago than we are today. Like in the 1800s, like how much further on life would you be if you were 18 years old? You might have your own like farm and family and property at 18. And at 18, we're just like, at 26, we're like, I gotta stay on your insurance, man. Like, mom, dad, I gotta stay on your insurance. Oh my gosh, it's my last year. So
yeah,
we're at a totally different kind of reality, and maybe we need to start building kids to be back at that point of time. And maybe if they were kind of more responsible and willing to, I don't know, grow up a little bit faster, then maybe we wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, these kids don't know anything, and Republicans wouldn't fear when that 18 demographic starts voting a little bit more. But right now, it's just that we've adolescence has just been stretched out.
really has. Adolescence is stretched very, very far these days. And, a lot of it, I've also learned, like, a lot of people really just don't know, or their parents didn't take the time to teach them. Like, back in, your father's generation, my parents' generation, the parents would cultivate the children, let them know, okay, this is how things work. Whereas, now we got a lot of broken families, a lot of broken homes. You don't have that mother, father, teaching anymore. You just got, sometimes you don't have either. And so they might grow up fast as far as having to take care of themselves, but they don't learn, how to be a father, how to be a husband, how to be a man, how to handle money. You may be good at going to get it. Anybody can go out and get a job. You can learn to be good at it, but do you know how to spend it properly? Do you know what it takes to buy a house, to build your credit? And, so different times we're living in.
Yeah, people don't know how to do that, and then they gotta wait till they 30, 40, and they gotta take a credit recovery class and stuff. Which, if you have to do that, that's great that you're taking those steps, but those are life skills we could definitely use earlier.
I learned about credit when I got out of high school, kind of in college, and just kind of hearing horror stories from other people, and I'm like, okay, let's start working on this. And so I did my research, and I took the time to learn, and so I could get my credit right, so I wouldn't have to deal with that. Probably should have done with a bunch of other things, but credit's good.
Well, we learned a little bit about that in econ, I guess. So there was a little bit of that, but like we could definitely use just a plain old life skill class. I think that'd be more important than the sex education classes, which are now just, they're putting gender ideology and stuff in there. Like, it's supposed to be about how to not get pregnant. So why are you like asking gender ideology questions now? Like, but let's not even go into that. This is the last one. This is the last video I have. And it's a little political, it's just political and religious. So let's go.
Over the years, I've watched lots of people argue that yes, you can be a pro-choice Christian. It's generally justified with God gave us free will and Jesus said not to judge. The free will aspect is a cop-out. Yes, God gave you free will. I can list 100 things you are not justifying right now because someone somewhere has free will to do it. Judge not is also a passage that Christians and atheists alike love to take out of context. In Scripture, you are repeatedly called to call out sin. You are not called to play God and tell people where they go when they die. Biblically, there are a few things that God states he actually hates. The shedding of innocent blood is one of them. Not just in Jeremiah, but throughout Scripture, God repeatedly talks about knitting people in their wombs and knowing them before birth. The first to recognize Jesus in the womb was another fetus, John the Baptist. You are trying to make your God conform to you when it's supposed to be the other way around.
Now that person is an atheist.
Wow. I was not expecting that.
She is an atheist, and she was all planning to get a job at Planned Parenthood, and I, this is like me based off like seeing some of her videos. I did start following her, but she had a child and she realized, oh no, obviously this is a life. And so now she's super against abortion. I don't know where all of her biblical knowledge comes from, because she seems to know more than the average bear. And I did see someone comment once and say, you seem to have a pretty good understanding of this, so why aren't you Christian? And so she said, I just can't bring myself to believe. So I'm praying for a supernatural experience for her. But in that video I commented, I said, girl, I'm kidnapping you and bringing you to church. And so she said, I'll go. I don't know where she's from, but I'm like, don't say, oh, that's me, because I will find you. I will find you. I will hunt you down and take you to church. No, that's not even a joke. So, but yeah, but what she said was 100% true. And I have heard both those arguments for being a pro-choice Christian. Mm-hmm. So have you heard that before?
Yeah. I come across a lot of people who, ask about being pro-choice and ask about, conception and things like that. And, I try to just keep it simple. Some people like to make it complex, but I try to keep it simple with, life starts at conception. And, you look throughout the Bible, and as she said, how God talks about, new people in the womb. And that was a great thing that she mentioned about how, John knew Jesus when he was in the womb. And a lot of people, a lot of the people who are for abortion are just trying to evade the responsibility that comes with having a child, which, if you were trying to do that, you would not fornicate, but that's a different story.
Oh my gosh. They don't want to hear that, sir. They get so mad. We're like, people aren't going to do that. And I'm like, what's more important, not having the baby or not having the sex? Like, you can decide. You can, and that's really the big problem, the issue there, because they're like, you care about the fetus more than the mother. Well, they're equal. They both have value, but the mother has had a lot of choices that can lead. I mean, unless something unfortunate really happened and there was abuse happened, like where there was a rape, and but those are extraordinarily rare, and most people try to use those situations to justify every other scenario, when most of the time it's, I didn't like the guy I was with, I wasn't ready, I wanted to finish graduate school, when there's stuff like that. So women have a lot of options. Like, you cannot have sex, you can do birth control, you can, like, well, sometimes birth control fails. I'm like, your birth control failed at the same time his condom snapped? Like, I don't think that happened.
And, yes, it is unpredictable, like pregnancy, and it is very unpredictable, but the way God created it, it works. You do what you do and it works. There may be some variations, but it's created to work and to create life. And the thing that sometimes I get like really hurt about is that, you want to avoid the responsibility, but what you're really doing is you're depriving yourself of the blessing. Like, children, blessing. Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy to raise a child, and a lot of people have some really hard circumstances, and things may not be ideal. But that has happened a lot throughout life since we've been on this planet, where situations are not ideal. Even people who are in good situations, having a child is still hard, but it is such a blessing. And shedding innocent life, a baby that has no idea what's going on, and you're going to deprive it because you want to avoid the hardship that comes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also heard a lot of stories of women who do it, who go through with the abortion, and it really destroys them.
Yeah.
It'll either body or it'll affect their mental.
When people, there's a lot of issues today, and it's not just only abortion, where people, at the heart of it, it's a lot of people trying to not take responsibility and just have kind of a selfish sense of themselves. Like, what Second Timothy says, people be lovers of themselves rather than lovers of God. And and people describe abortion as it's modern day child sacrifice at the altar of self. And people don't understand how much we need responsibility to ground us, to root us. Like we just mentioned how people earlier who were 18, like years ago, they were a lot further in life. They had a lot more, and they were more responsible. They were more grown up, and we've just extended adolescence. And it's good to be a kid if you can, for as long as you can, because we are living longer too. So they definitely had a shorter lifespan back then. But a lot of the things we've done in the world, like how we've made sexual moral depravity, and the sexual revolution, just men can sleep around, women can sleep around, everybody's sleeping around. Like, that's not liberating for women. It's not liberating for men. It's not liberating for women to go and start having, being in pornos and stuff like that. Man, if you hear some of these stories from people who actually came out of it, man, Katrina told me a story about I think Chris Palmer had somebody on who was like big into the porn industry. Actually, he was a big TikToker. Who had he's a TikToker who's a I think he's a pastor now, but he was in the porn industry. But they say women would get in there and they would have a no sell, like, I won't do this list. And so when women stop kind of like exciting people and selling the stuff, they would sell out the list of stuff they wouldn't do, and companies would be like, well, you're not really one anymore, but if you start doing all these things that you said you wouldn't do, we'll pay you X amount. So then they'll go ahead and they'll break their list of things that they said they wouldn't do and start doing it, because that's the only way that they can remain relevant. And then when they've exhausted them that way and they're not selling anymore, they'll take them like, well, we got this different kind of service here, and then they'll basically be escorts, they'll be whores. So they just use and abuse women. A lot of them think it's empowering to be in this sort of industry, but it's not. People just want to use them. And then the same thing goes for the men as well. Like he said he knows so many people who have killed themselves, and people are still watching their porn and that's still out there. And it's like, you're like getting a rise out of these people who are dead, who are gone because they were so depressed with all of this stuff. So we haven't bettered ourselves with a society trying to be freer with all these things. So having a responsibility, loving yourself more, having more self-respect, that you would keep yourself and that you would want to serve other people as well. Not in a slavery sort of sense, but I love you, so I want to give to you. I love you, so I want to help you. I love you, so I want to take care of you. Like, people don't think it's liberating to have a husband. They think it's like, no, you have a relationship, a partnership, two people who are going to come together and be one. And then you have children that you love, that you take care of. That, like Jordan Peterson said to woman, like during an interview, it's really lonely in life when you're like looking around and you're 60 and you're 70 and you don't have any family, you don't have any kids.
It is. And there's so much, from what I've seen, and I'm not married, but there's so much joy in marriage, and it's work. The Bible, a lot of scripture that a lot of people like to throw around is the Bible says, if a man ought not work, he ought not eat. And it's not just about having a job. It's about having responsibility.
Yeah.
And look at Adam. Adam had responsibility. God gave him something to do. And I'm not saying that, every person, every man has to go out and go work a 9 to 5 right now. But having responsibility it helps you to, one, keep your mind right,
Mhm.
because an idle mind is the devil's playground, and the devil is very good at the job. And when you're sitting at home, or when you're alone all the time and don't have any responsibility, don't have anything that you need to be doing, the devil plays on your mind, and then that's when
Mhm.
people start to depress, and other things open the door for way worse things. But having I went to a wedding, well, a wedding renewal today for Bishop Alfonso and his wife,
Mhm.
and I'm just there, and I'm seeing all these people celebrate this couple, celebrate
Mhm.
this wonderful marriage, and just looking at his face, I could see the pride he had, how proud he was, and how happy and satisfied he was with what God had did for him, and all the people that he brought together with
Yeah.
his family, church, and it was such a beautiful thing. And that's what God wants for us. There's a purpose for marriage. There's a purpose for sex. There's a purpose for having children. It's to continually grow, to continually move forward. And that's where the blessing is.
Mhm.
And the devil has tried to get us away from that and saying there's freedom in not going after that. There's
Yeah.
freedom not chasing after God, and they say God, serving God is bondage, and you'll be locked up and you won't be able to do anything. We both know that that's not true.
Yeah.
There's freedom in Christ, in serving the Lord, not in going out and fornicating and doing all the things that you think that you want to do that actually only lead to bondage.
Yeah. I mean, like the Bible says, a whore is a deep ditch, Like, and people who gotta cut that child support, cutting up a paycheck, they know that. But
That is true.
no, but we need responsibility, like you said, with God gave man responsibility and he gave woman responsibility, and structured how the family's supposed to be and how they serve each other. Like the man, like the woman is supposed to serve him and not be like a slave to him. But they said like you're supposed to be like Jesus was to the church. It's like Jesus died. Like you're supposed to be ready to like lay your life down for your family if you have to. Like it's a partnership. Like you watch Full Metal Alchemist, right?
Yeah.
When but did you watch Brotherhood?
I don't think I watched that one.
Okay. At the end, when Edward is about to leave, and so he just turns around. He because when we're seeing him off, and he just kind of blushes and he's like, "Equivalent exchange. You give your half your life to me, and I'll give half my life to yours." And she's just like, "Oh my gosh!" And she's like, "How about all of it?" And then they both kind of blush. And she's like, well, maybe not all of it. Maybe like 30 or 40, like maybe 60, like, kind of cute, like anime way. But no, but that moment is so good. Like, no, it's not half and half. Sometimes you have to give your all with a relationship. Sometimes your partner's not doing their best and you got to put more in, or they got to put more in. Like, relationships is everything. And if you're just going you do your half, I'll do my half, eventually you're going to bump heads because someone can't always pull their weight. So
Right.
it's, if you want a partner, like join a law firm. If you want a marriage, you got to give everything. So but we have so many people today who think there's freedom and liberty in just being themselves and not needing people or not being accountable to people. And that's just not true. And it hasn't led to a great place with our society. Obviously, that's why we're arguing with abortion so much. And the thing that really bothers me is that I see all these young kids really arguing about it. I don't know if some of these kids have even had sex and they're arguing about how much they need abortion, want to stand up for it, and so on. And I'm just like, why do you feel like you need it so bad?
Right.
Why do you need this so badly? Is it because you don't want any sort of responsibility? But why don't you value yourself to like try to be in relationships where you wouldn't even think to do this?
Right.
Like I say, my mom practiced proactive love because before she even thought to have me, she kept herself. Her husband, they were both virgins when they got married. She made sure that she would find a good man who'd be a good husband to her and a good father to her children. So maybe people don't want to always think that far down the line, but you can't just a baby will radically change your world, sure, but sleeping with the wrong person, the wrong relationship will destroy you. It can destroy you.
Yeah.
So you can't just like be throwing yourself around. I said this earlier this week, but I said don't make soul ties with dead weights.
Hmm. It's good. That's really good. It's the truth. It's the truth. And a lot of people, they don't think they don't think about it that way. They only have their only focus is either getting pleasure or just having a strong attraction to somebody, but they're not thinking about their future. They don't understand the importance of relationship. And we know relationship is important because that's what God wants with us.
Hmm.
Even from the beginning of time, God has put emphasis on relationship, husband, wife, mother, father, children to parents. Even with your neighbor, it's all about relationship. And I think we've really lost sight of that.
Yeah,
And not only just pursuing relationship, but pursuing the right relationships.
that's true. It's absolutely true. Well, that is my last TikTok, sir.
I enjoyed it. This was fun. I
I'm
like
glad.
this.
I'm glad you had fun. So why don't you, for those of you coming who may be coming late because people pass along, Gabe is a Christian rapper, and he did not spit few bars for me. That's okay. But tell people where they can get your music and your shirts and all kind of stuff.
You can find my music on all media outlets. My artist name is Gabriel, and you can just search Gabriel. Thanks, Gabriel, Rich Young Ruler. And my latest album, Gabriel Summer Tapes, is available on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Deezer, Tidal, wherever you get your music, it is available on there. And you can follow me on all social media. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at Gabriel Be That Guy. That's Gabriel, the letter B, and that guy. And you can also, if you want to support with the clothing, it's holydripapparel.com. This is one of the shirts here, holydripapparel.com. And yeah.
I had Chris Palmer on here last week, and he put his name just Meme Lord, and so I'm just like, you can tell people where your social media handles are if you could have wrote your real name instead of Meme Lord. He's like, oh yeah. He's a meme snob. He didn't really get our TikToks. He's like, that TikTok could have been about anything. I'm like, people follow trends. Like that's what they do. He's like, I don't use templates when I make memes. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and then I showed him one TikTok, and it like they obviously put a lot of work into it. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna play it for you. I'm gonna play it for you because I know you'll appreciate it. He didn't really appreciate it. I got to do a screen share kind of thing. So hopefully everything doesn't go awry as I look for this video. But Chris Palmer did not appreciate the meme as it should have been. And
Guy. He's excellent theologically, but he is a different guy.
he's definitely a different guy. I think it's called Argue. Let me see if I type it in. Oh, here we go. It's gonna play. Here we go.
I can't argue with you. You mad. I can't argue with you. No. Look at you. Look at you. You mad. Look at you. You big man. I'm happy. Leave me alone. I'm happy. Sweat. Leave me alone.
That was excellent.
I know. And he's all like, that could have been about anything. Like, he's got the music in there. He's got the multiple effects with the clones and the I haven't used the one with like the party one, but that's obviously a filter effect too. And I'm like, he's got different things going on, and you're just like, it could have been about anything. I'm just like, sir, did you enjoy it or not?
He used TikTok so properly. He got got the filters, and then he threw the Christian in there. It's perfect. It's excellently done. Excellent.
It was excellent. It was really excellent. And I got to tell Chris Palmer we trashed him at the end of this one. Well, I'm glad someone appreciated. That's one of like my favorite TikToks that I have seen because I argue with people all the time, I guess. So just that vibe. I'm like, maybe I should just have that approach more often with people. But yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. I think I'm gonna have to do an episode where I only like do my top favorite, like top 10. And I don't know if I have like a 10 that are just like a full 10 that's just like the best of the best, like my favorite of my favorites. But I definitely have some out there that I've played before. But maybe that's what I'll have to do like upcoming, because I got some ones that I just like think are so funny and hilarious. But I that one is funny to me. It brings me joy, and I think it's like a top tier kind of content.
It's excellent. It's excellent content. There's some really creative people on this app. There really are. There's some really creative people. Tina is one of those creative people. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you and even Katrina, like it's just there's a lot.
Even Katrina.
Katrina's great. She's awesome. She's very creative. I didn't mean it like.
Yes, even her too. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please go to blacktnews.com. Check out content that I have on my website. Please check out my store, different merchandise that I have. I also have books as well. I wrote Slay Your Fear when the pandemic pretty much started because people were losing their minds. So you can go ahead and check out that book and other content that I have there. If you would like to donate to blacktnews.com, you go to blacktnews.com/donate. Thank you guys so much. And I'll be back Monday. On Monday, I'm having Anthony Ferlini as my guest on Black Teen News. He is the clerk of Macomb County, and we'll be talking about election integrity. So it'll be a very interesting broadcast. So make sure that you join me Monday at 4:00 for Black Teen News. Thank you so much, Gabe, for joining. And we got to do it again.
Yes, indeed.
All right. God bless you guys, and I'll see you Monday.